Princess Cora and the Crocodile. The Princess Cora and the Crocodile. Chapter 1. The Princess Cora was born. Her father was thought as perfect as a snowflake. Look at those big blue eyes, shouted the king. Look at her toes, and look at the blessed queen's little pink pearls. Someday our little girl will be queen, and the king. And all at once the queen looked forward, and so did the king, because her eyes were pink and toes will help Princess Cora to rule the land. We must teach her, said the queen, and we will train her, the king. So that every day king and queen began to train Princess Cora. They stopped thinking that she was perfect and started worrying about what was wrong with her. By the time she was 7 years old, there wasn't a single minute when Princess Cora wasn't being trained. King and queen hired a nanny to make sure that Princess Cora was always tidy. The nanny thought that being clean was the most important thing in the world. She made Princess Cora take 3 baths a day, watched like a hawk, and made sure she wasn't wash herself all over. "In the tub you go," she would say, "scrub-a-dub-a-dub-dub till I stop." Sometimes Princess Cora got tired of taking baths, but Nanny always took her finger and said, "Do you want to be a dirty little girl? Do you want to smell bad?" Princess Cora took red and took another bath. But it wasn't taking baths. Princess Cora was studying hard. Every day she went to the tower room, read books on how to run the kingdom, and Princess must be wise. Books were so dull, and Princess Cora yawned until her eyes were full of tears. Sometimes she asked silly questions just to live up things up. The queen frowned, an awful frown, and said, "Now, Cora, that is inappropriate." So Princess hung her head and went back to work. After she studied, Princess Cora went down to the old castle prison, which the king had turned into a gym, and every day king stood with the gold in their hand while Princess Cora ran in the circles, skipped rope, and 500. Faster, faster, future queen must be strong. King, skipped rope, good for you. Princess Cora knew the skipping rope was good for her, but that didn't make her a little better. Sometimes she tried to say hope, but when she did, the king squatted down in front of her, and it made her face look sad. He said, "Princess Cora, are you being a good girl?" Princess Cora knew it wasn't no use it would say. She asked if I no, burst into tears. Princess Cora wanted her parents to be happy, so she worked hard at being clean, strong, and wise. But deep inside, she was angry. Sometimes that night, when she was alone, she whispered, "Skipping rope was stupid, and I'm sick of those boring books. When I grow up, I'm never going to be baths and be a dirty." She thought scared her. She couldn't stop thinking. One night, she crept an idea in her head. It was different than others. It was a happy thought. What if we had a dog? She smiled at the darkness. She thought of a great furry golden dog that would be wagging his tail and jump on her and wouldn't tell her what to do. What I want was Cora a dog. But when she told the nanny cried, "Dog, dirty dog, a dog would make messes, carpet, good heavens, and wouldn't want that." And Queen said, "Dogs are for little girls who have time to take care of them. I'm afraid you're too busy, dear." When Princess Cora asked the king if she could have a dog, she stared at the gold watch and shouted, "Pastor, she was trying to turn around in circles at the same time." That night, Cora couldn't sleep. At last, she got out of bed and wrote a letter to her fairy godmother. "Dear godmother, nobody listens to me. My mother and father, all the pet and nanny was one of them, but I do. And she's sick and tired of everything. Help me, please, Princess Cora." Then she tore the letter into scraps and dropped it in the window, and she took the letter to her godmother. Every scrap turned into a white butterfly, flew away. Chapter 2. When Princess Cora woke up the next morning, she found a box foot over her bed. There was a hole punched in the top of something inside a breed. Princess Cora lifted the lid. Inside was a scatty green animal with a pink bow around its neck. "Goodness," cried an alligator. "All right." An animal smiled, had teeth hanging down from the jaw drop. Teeth spoke in her bottom jaw. "Guess again," he said. "Are you a crocodile, Princess Cora?" "I am your crocodile," answered the animal. "I'm your new pet, come to rescue you from your awful parents and mean nanny." "My parents are awful. The nanny isn't too bad." I said I wanted. She stopped. She meant to say that she wanted a dog, but she didn't want to hurt the crocodile's feelings. Besides, you couldn't rescue me. "I bite," said the crocodile, and he opened his mouth and teeth. So many Princess Cora jumped out and let a little scream. Don't be frightened, said the crocodile. I won't bite you. I'm your crocodile. I'm only by people who don't like you, and I won't eat until you insist. I seldom eat people. I just chew on them. What I really like to do is eat cream puffs. Princess Cora, consider this. I can give you cream puffs. Says that's a good thing because, Princess, I always have cream puffs. Do you like chocolate or vanilla? Both. Crocodile said, really? He wanted his sword. Then he stopped. Wait. I haven't saved you yet. Fairy Godmother told me to save you. No one can save me, Princess Cora, unless you can turn yourself into a dog. I can't do that, but I can knock people down, swat them with my tail, and follow rear ends and chew them. Princess Cora shook her head. I don't think that's a good idea. If you don't want bites, you don't want rear ends. What do you want? Asked the crocodile. Princess Cora thought hard. I want a day off. No baths, no books, no skipping rope, just a day I like. I know what. I'll take your place. I'll wear your clothes and take his baths, learn lessons, and jump away with stupid rope. You can run away and have fun. I don't think, began Princess Cora, but Crocodile grabbed one of her dresses, jammed it in his back legs, into his sleeves, and putting on a pair of pants. Oh, dear God, no, cried Princess Cora as she ran in to help him. In the very short time Crocodile was dressed, Princess Cora's dress, he stood on the hind legs, in front of the front claws, and behind the back, and astonished at how he looked like Princess Cora. And just one problem, your long tail shows I haven't got a tail. That's my fault. Crocodile, he whipped it out of sight, and there was a problem with Princess Cora. Stopped, she almost said baldness, and she didn't want to be rude like a little hair. She last minute wig, she said the crocodile. Sorry to say that she couldn't have an idea came to her. She found her nanny mop stinking part of a stick. She tried the stinking part of the crocodile's head and yawned the mop and shade down Princess Cora's hair. There, crocodile, peering into the mirror. I don't look sweet. You're perfect, Princess Cora. You know, I might work. At least I work with a nanny. She never wears her glasses. Mama's eyes reading the papas, always looking at the watch. You could work. Now I'm here to stay. Run along. I have fun. No one ever told Princess Cora to run along if she hadn't known, but dressed herself in a flash. Her eye ran down the steps. Back door. Castle Garden was very tight, with trees shaped to corn. Wanted untied trees might be climbed. So she raced past the lily pond, ran into the orchard, and the trees grew. Chapter 3. When the nanny ran into Princess Cora's room, she wasn't wearing her glasses. She saw the crocodile in Princess' pink dress, made an angry chuckling noise. Why, you dirty little girl, why don't you get dressed when you haven't been at your bath? She took her finger into the tub, and you go, scrub-a-dub-a-dub. I say, stop. Yes. The crocodile took off her dress, but her claws weren't good as undoing button. Oh, never mind. Into the water. He made a splash water pound over the sides of the tub. What a mess. She tried and went to her get her mop. She started to at the stick, then she looked back at the tub. She saw the stinky end of the mop, tried to Princess Cora's head. The green Princess Cora had a long tail. You think that something was wrong. Why are you not Princess Cora? Yes, I am. I'm Princess Cora. Yes, sirree. I'm here. Yes, it's me. I'll bite you and disagree. Princess Cora, hee hee. Then you cry, you nasty thing. You hit the mop panel. I'll get you out of the tub this minute. All right, said. Hipped out of the tub, splashed water into the floor. There were puddles everywhere. Then he gave the crocodile an idea. He emptied a jar of bath water on top of the puddles. Let's make a water slide. Come inside with me. He grabbed the nanny around the waist and made her slide. The nanny screamed, Isn't this fun? Said the crocodile. He said, what's more? Well, she tried out of it. She ain't bath time. Scrubby-dub-dub. He lead the nanny into the tub. The nanny was frightened, so she found it hard to scrub herself because she was wearing all her clothes. Every now and then she tried to climb the tub, but the crocodile always put her back in. Once she tried to slap him. He shook his claw and gave her a little nip in the arm. After that, she stayed Now they keep washing. While the water was growing cold tub, Princess Cora was going to the tree to climb. She stood at her foot, looked at her to one. Oh, a high branch. There she stood, stuck, because she couldn't see how to get her wrestler up. She looked where food was. As she found a tree with a very slow branch, she wiggled her bottom against the branch until she was sitting in the tree. She stood up again to climb. She skinned her elbow, tore her peacoats, she's climbing, but she was 9 feet off the ground. Cool green leaves all around her. She sighed with happiness. Chapter 4. While Princess Cora was climbing the tree, the crocodile was climbing the stairs to the tower. The queen was reading and didn't look up at the small Princess Cora. Sit down, clear. The crocodile looked at the cool pen, dripped in the ink. Write down everything I say, commanded the queen. She read the crocodile about money, banks. The crocodile yawned loudly, showing a sharp teeth. The queen didn't notice. The crocodile looked at something to play with. Key eyes, blinked bottle. He advanced it on his end of his snout. Turned a good bath with his wink foaming green black puddle. The crocodile saw it. He raised his eyes to the ceiling. Above the head was a glass chandelier. It hung a silver chain. An instant, the crocodile was up on the table. He gave a mighty leap, grabbed the chandelier, and began to swing back and forth. The queen heard the glass twinkle. She frowned when saw Crocodile's dress swingle above her head. Princess Cora and the most in her probe would come down there in a minute. Then she stopped. She had seen the crocodile's feet. Well up to 4 tap of toes. Now the queen. Yes, I am. Crocodile. Yes, I am. The queen wasn't fooled for one bit. She was a great reader of science and books that taught her how to tell the crocodile from a little girl. You're a reptile, she snapped. And what are you doing here? The crocodile went on swinging the green tail and pink. He sang, I'm a Princess Cora's pet. I'm your favorite croc, you bet. Inky, stinky, dry, and wet. I am inappropriate. The queens couldn't stand this. It was a bad rhythm. She sighed. She picked up a book and threw it at the crocodile. Reptile, she asked. The crocodile caught it, tossed it back to mammal. The queen didn't like being called a mammal. She cried, guards! Rushed out the door, but the crocodile took a fine leap and got there before she did, and she snapped his teeth at her and chased the queen around the tower until she was dizzy. When she fell down, the crocodile nipped her, once the left knee ankle, once in the right ankle. Snip, snip. How dare you, said the queen. It's against the law to bite the queen. Crocodiles don't have laws, crocodile. The queen grabbed the nearest chair, tried to hit him. This is so inappropriate, said the crocodile. It took the chair and bit. Then he tossed the pieces right up from him, looking at the queens inside the tower. While the queen was shouting out for the guards to unlock the door, Princess Cora was kneeling in the orchard picking up strawberries. The strawberries were redder than rubies, smelled like quartz and honey. Princess Cora filled the skit with them. She opened the gate and went to the woods. There was a great pine tree, branches that swept the ground. Princess Cora kept under and ate strawberries until the teeth were full of tiny seeds. Then she began to build a fort. She took off the petticoats used for the roof. She scooped up down pine needles and made a bed. Once the bed was made, she lay down and sniffed tiny smells of needles. But she was too happy to sleep. The sound of the trickling water reached her ears. She got up and followed, knowing she had a little creek, took off her shoes, stockings, and dipped them to feet in water so cold that her toes stung. She waited out for more than an hour. The stream led into the pasture full of cows and buttercups. While she was picking up the buttercups, the dear Princess Cora stepped onto the cow pie. It was the most disgusting thing she ever happened. The princess stopped up and squealed, "Eee!" Then she stopped and thought to herself, probably, I'm having an adventure. Wiped her foot with grass. Chapter 5. While Princess Cora was having a brave cow crawling down cellars to see the king, he found the king running in place with the weights in his hand. Late again, Panic Quick picked up your rope and skipped 500. I'll count you and you down the weights and pull up the gold watch. Crocodile sighed. He was beginning to get tired of Princess Cora's family. He picked up the skipping rope hung over his head. He hit himself in the ankles and says, "Ow!" The king never looked at his eyes and his watch. Start over. Crocodile tried again, but the crocodiles are not built for skipping rope. Their rope has got stuck under his lost temper. "I hate skipping rope," he yelled, "and I'm not going to do it anymore." The king was so surprised he dropped his watch. He went to the crocodile and squatted down before him. "Princess Cora," he said, voice that Princess Cora hated the most, "you are being a little girl." Crocodile threw down the skipping rope. He yelled, "I want to be a good little girl. I want to be a bad crocodile, and what's more, I am one." Then the crocodile tore his little dress. The king was so shocked that he put his hands over his eyes. "Princess Cora," he shouted, "what are you thinking? No matter what happens, we do not take off your clothes." "Yes, we do," said the crocodile, grinning along the king's trousers between the teeth. There was a sound of ripping cloth. The king squealed and put his hands over his ears, saying, "Princess Cora," said Cry, "behave yourself." But the crocodile only snapped his teeth. The king began to run. Crocodile rushed after him, shouted faster and faster. Indeed, the king ran very fast, but no man as fast as a crocodile. After the gym sent flap around the gym, lashed his tail around the king's now, began to chew on him. It stuck the king's daughter's teeth were very sharp. He saw his daughter's nose, long and fairly green. The king cried out, "Good heavens, you're not Princess Cora." "I'm too," said the crocodile. It sounded more like because your chewing hasn't easily chewed the king because he has such strong muscles. His rear end was tough, but dry as bubble gum. "Ouch," said Help. Crocodile, cried the king. He pulled free and dashed toward the steps. Crocodile made a lasso for the skipping rope, threw it over the king's head. Then the crocodile tried the king's, bringing him double knots. The king howled and raged. His rear end was wet with crocodile's spite, and he hated being tied, but no good to howl, because the gym had once been a prison and the walls were very thick. The crocodile slithered up the stairs, shut up the door, locked it. That was done. Wanted the tub of dough up the right way the day, but Princess Cora was be happy. 1,100 cream puffs. His mouth began to water as he thought of those cream puffs. He sank up. Back door waited for Princess Cora. At the very moment, Princess Cora was walking lily pod. She lost her shoes somewhere in the creek. The dish was covered with strawberry stains. She felt very peaceful. She stopped to admire the little lilies. In the pond was a large pond with a splash of fountain. Princess Cora bent over and washed her hands. She thought of how angry Nanny would be when she saw. "But I'm sorry. I let him be why I ran away. Perhaps I ran them. Listen, I am very polite and tell the truth." When she reached the castle door, she found the crocodile waiting for her. His wig hung beside the creek and no one dressed on. "What happened?" asked Princess Cora. "They didn't believe I was you." Crocodile said, "So I bit them." "You bit them?" "I told you not to. I forgot. But don't worry. They'll get over it. Your nanny shook her finger at me. Oh, I hate that. But you shouldn't have bitten her. She got under my nerves and said the nest. So after that, her mother read in the book. Couldn't stand when she was inappropriate. She said to me, 'The Princess Cora, you're awful. You didn't bite her, did you?' said Crocodile twice. "Twice," cried Princess Cora. "She had 2 legs, and then I locked her in the tower." "You didn't," said Princess Cora. "Well, I did," answered the crocodile. "And then I told her to follow. I didn't want to jump over the stupid rope, and he asked me if I would be a good girl. And I was. He said any more would have bitten him. And he wasn't even fun to bite. He's the wrong kind of chewy. Your family's horrible. I don't know how to cope with him." Princess Cora frowned at him. "I never said you could hurt them. I told you not to bite. Now I'm in trouble. I've never been in trouble in my whole life." "What kind of life is that?" said the crocodile. Princess Cora shook her finger. "You're a bad, bad crocodile," he said sternly, "and inappropriate. You're maybe everything worse." Crocodile burst into tears. He covered his eyes from cause. "You're mean," says. "You're mean. You told me not to eat anybody I didn't even want to. I'm starving to death. And you and I could have cream puffs, and I haven't had any. Not one cream puff. Now you're mad at me." Crocodile writhed and wiggled. He lashed his tail. "I wish I was dead. And he brought over his grief. Princess Cora's heart melted. She took out her handkerchief to wipe away the crocodile's tears, but he kept his claws over his eyes and he wouldn't look at her. Poor Crocky. You were never cut out to be a princess, she patted her snout. Don't cry, poor Crocodile Dilly. You never had your cream puffs. The crocodile peered out from behind the claws. This is what I was telling you to. How about it then? How about some cream puffs? Princess Cora laughed. Oh, come along, she said. I feed you, then I'll fix this everything. Princess Cora led the crocodile into the kitchen and cooked, and he gave the crocodile some cream puffs. The cook was surprised to see the crocodile, but she had made 6 batches of cream puffs, chocolate chop. I'll feed him. The cook says you must bite him. Did you hear that? Princess Cora said to the crocodile. No bites. Righto, agreed the crocodile. Chapter 6. The Princess Cora went upstairs and found her nanny, who was in the bathtub. Princess Cora says, thank you, goodness, for her. A blackheart bit me and frightened me to death. I'm so cold, I went so wet. I'm sick of being in the tub. Oh, poor nanny, princess, let me bring you a towel. Princess Cora helped Nanny take off her wet clothes. She found her a warm nightgown and bottomed her up to her neck. Poor Nanny, she go. Then I climbed Bet. She ran upstairs to the tower. When she unlocked the door, Queen cried, Oh, dear Princess Cora, thank goodness you're all right. A dreadful crocodile was here, pretending to be you. He bit me and chased me around, locked the books. Poor Mama. She ran for a towel to wipe the ink. She swept up the soap, water, clean bathrobe. Because the Queen's gown was all splattered and spotty, Princess Cora tried to think booze. The Queen seized a stack of books and drained them. Mama, what are you doing? I'm throwing these books away, he answered. I've had locked up in them hours, and they're all dreadful dull. Princess Cora tried not to smile. Yes, they are, agreed. She kissed his mother. Now I'm going to find Papa. When Princess Cora opened the cellar door, the king moaned pitifully and held up his tied together hands. Oh dear, poor Papa. Princess Cora she knelt down and began to loosen the knots. Oh, Princess groaned. A wicked crocodile chased me and tore my pants. Don't look, shut her eyes. How can I untie you if my eyes are shut? Asked Princess Cora. I mean, don't look back. That's crocodile tore a hole in my pants. Oh, my goodness, says Princess Cora. She felt father's bathrobe, covered him up, and then untied the little double knots. When the king was free, he stood up and stretched. Now what? It's time to skip rope before supper. No, I think we should have supper now. I'm hungry, and he was sure all strawberries were not filling, and I ran up and down a great many steps. Chapter 7. So Princess Cora and Anne and the king went to supper together, the grown-ups, the bathrobes, and Harold, but they were too hungry with nobody cares. Nobody spoke until dessert, until the cream puffs. The queen said, we must hunt down the crocodile and get rid of him. Yes, said the king. Then he went back to the way we were. Princess Cora felt her heart beat fast. He's not so good, bad crocodile. My fairy godmother sent him to help me. I like him. I like him, said the queen. That's Nasty's dirty crocodile, said the name. The one who tore a hole in my pants, chewed on my rear end, got crocodile spit on my behind. Yes, I do. And there's something else I'd like to tell you. My heart beating faster. I don't want to go back to the way things were before. Please, please listen to me. The king and queen and the nanny were listening, and they looked shocked and a little angry. And they were listening this time, Princess Cora didn't hang her up head, turned red up, burst into tears. She climbed a tree in a day, built a fort, stepped onto a cow pal, and things made her brave. She spoke up. I'm tired of taking baths. She said, I'm taking 3 baths a day. It's too many. And between baths, I get dirty. I want to play outdoors and dig in the garden. The nanny looked upset, and Queen only said, is that all? No, it isn't. From now on, I want to choose the books I want to read the books about sharks and tigers and fairies. The books upstairs are all a little dirty, and the queen is that all? Not quite. I'm sick and tired of skipping rope. I want to climb trees and roller skate and learn to juggle. The king sighed. She shifted her pillow because the rear end felt sore. So I suppose we were right. The king and queen and the nanny said, that's all settled. Queen Cora, There's one more thing. I want a big golden dog with fluffy tail. A dog will rush with Nanny. The king started walking, and a dog will make the princess strong. And at last the queen said, after all, a dog is better than the crocodile. So agreed to the princess. Could have a dog. Maybe I have 2 dogs. But the queen said, don't push it. 1 dog will be loving and kiss them all. Of course, they said. You must give up the crocodiles because belong to the castle. I understand, said Princess Cora. So very next day, Princess Cora got a lovely golden to her fluffy, and her way changed. She looked back at 2 baths a day. And between them, she got dirty. Some days even read law. And some days she read fairy tales. Some days she skipped rope. Other days she skipping rope. And every day she walked a golden doll in a lily pond and she ate cream puffs together. Every day Princess Cora threw a dozen cream puffs into the water. And just in case there was someone there who liked them.